Question 1. Which characteristic of living organisms is the taking in of materials for energy, growth, and development? Respiration is the chemical reactions in cells that break down nutrient molecule and release energy for metabolism. Nutrition is the taking in of materials for energy, growth, and development. Plants require light carbon dioxide, water, and ions, while animals require organic compounds and ions and also water. So the answer would be B. Excretion is the removal from organisms of the waste products of metabolism, toxic materials, and also substance in excess of requirements, while reproduction is the process that make more of the same kind of organism. So the answer would be A, C, or D. Next question, which pair of plant species belong to the same genus? So the scientific name is usually starts with the genus followed by the species. So we're looking for plant species that belong to the same genus. That would be D. They have the same genus, which is Ranunculus. B have belong to the same species. And the same goes to C. Next question, the diagram shows part of a cross-section of a leaf as viewed under a microscope. Which level of organization is shown by structure X? Structure X is most likely your root hair cell. So the answer would be a specialized cell, which is C. An example of an organ system would be the shoot and root system. And an example of organ would be the root, stem, on leaves. And an example of a tissue is xylem. Next question, the diagram shows a diagram. The student draws a diagram of a plant cell. The diagram is 25 mm wide. The actual plant cell is 50 micrometer wide. What is the magnification of the diagram? So for this, we have the formula magnification equals to image size over actual size. So we're looking for the magnification, and we know that the image size is 25 millimeter, and we would convert the millimeter to a meter, so it would be 25 to the power of -2. And we know that the actual size is 50 micrometer, which is to the power of -6. So that we can cancel it off, and the answer would be 500, which is C. The apparatus shown was set up. A few hours later, the water in the beaker had turned blue and the liquid in the glass tube had moved upwards. Which processes caused these changes? So the glass tube has a higher concentration of sugar solution and it has a lower water potential, while the beaker has a lower concentration of sugar solution and it has a higher water potential. So what caused the water in the beaker to turn blue? Most likely what happened is that the water from the glass tube went into the beaker, so it moved from a region of higher concentration to a region of lower concentration, which is diffusion. So A and B couldn't be the answer. Liquid in the glass tube moved upwards, meaning that most likely is that the water goes from the beaker to the glass tube. So the water moved from a region of higher water potential to a region of low water potential, which is osmosis. So the answer is D. Active transport is the movement of molecules from a region of lower concentration to a region of higher concentration. So the answer can't be C. Next question, the bar chart shows the concentration of magnesium ions in the soil and in the plant root. Which process will move magnesium ions from soil into the root? So based on the graph given, the soil has a lower concentration of magnesium ions while the root has a higher concentration of magnesium ions. meaning that it moved from a region of lower concentration to a region of higher concentration, which is active transport, so the answer would be A. Active transport is involved in the ion uptake by root hairs. And another example would be the uptake of glucose by epithelial cells and kidney tubules. Next question. Transpiration. The answer is not transpiration because transpiration is the loss of water vapor. Next question. Which element is found in proteins but is absent from fats? So fats contain the three basic elements, which is carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen, while proteins consist of carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, and also nitrogen. So the answer is nitrogen, which is C. Fats and carbohydrates both only have carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. Next question. The structures of antibodies, DNA molecules, and enzymes are specific to their actions. Which feature of each molecule makes it specific? So the answer would be D. Base sequence for DNA, binding site for antibody, active site for enzyme. The difference between a binding site and an active site is that the active site is also a catalysis site. And for antibody usually have this like Y shape. And then it will bind to the antigen. And then you will have the antibody. They have to be complementary for them to bind. So the answer would be D. Next question. The rate of reaction of an enzyme at different pH values was investigated. The graph shows the results of the investigation. At which pH is the enzyme most active, meaning that the rate of reaction is the highest. That would be here, which is 6. So the answer is B. Next question. Why does salivary amylase not work in the stomach? So for this question, they bold not work. So the answer would be C. The pH of the stomach is acidic. The optimum pH of amylase is around pH 7. So this would cause the enzyme to be denatured and hence it would not work. B is not the answer because the question specified not work. And starch being not present in the stomach is not the reason why it does not work. So C is the answer. Next question. The graph shows changes in dry mass as a seed germinates and becomes a seedling. At which point is it respiring and photosynthesizing at the same rate? So when it is respiring, the dry mass would decrease. But when it is photosynthesizing, the dry mass would increase. So the answer would be B, where there is no net change. As you can see, the dry mass remains constant, or relatively constant. Next question. The mineral ions present in 4 different soils are shown. Which soil would be best for growing healthy green plants? So the answer, we would need the nitrate ions and we also need the magnesium ions. We need the nitrate ions to produce amino acids, to make amino acids, and we need magnesium for chlorophyll. So we do need both, so the answer would be D, present. Next question. Some of the nutrients that form part of a balanced diet are listed. Which nutrients are needed for healthy bones? That would be our calcium and vitamin D. Vitamin D help with absorbing calcium. So the answer is 1 and 4, which is B. Next question. Which descriptions of mitosis and meiosis are correct? So during mitosis, the copies of chromosomes separate, maintaining the chromosome number, so the chromosome number is not half. And during meiosis, the chromosome number is half from diploid to haploid, resulting in genetically different cells. So B is not the answer. And the chromosome number is half, so the answer is not D. Repairs damaged cell, that is not correct. This one suits mitosis. So the answer will be C. Mitosis is involved in asexual reproduction, while meiosis is involved in sexual reproduction. And during mitosis, the chromosome number is maintained. Next question, the diagram shows the alimentary canal and associated organs, and which parts of the alimentary canal is most water absorbed. That would be your small intestine, which is D. The large intestine also absorbs water, but the small intestine absorbs more water than the large intestine. So the answer would be D. Next question, the diagram shows part of a cross-section through the leaf of a plant that is watered regularly. The water supply is removed and the plant wilts. What is the state of 1 and 2 in a wilted leaf, and what will the water potential change in cell 1? When the plant wilts, it means that the water potential, most of the water came out, meaning that the water potential in the plant is low. It is flaccid. So the answer wouldn't be A, wouldn't be C. The state of 2 would be close to prevent more loss of water, so the answer would be B. And as I said, the water potential would be lower, so the answer is B. Next question, the diagram shows a cross section through a heart. What is the name of the heart chamber labeled X? So the upper portion is the atrium, then the lower portion of the heart is the ventricle. And that is the right, and this is the left. So it would be the left ventricle, which is B. Next question, the diagram shows a human blood cell. What is its function? This is a white blood cell, and to be more exact, it is a phagocyte. Phagocyte, the function of a phagocyte is for phagocytosis. So how to distinguish between a phagocyte and a lymphocyte is that a lymphocyte usually has a spherical nucleus, so usually looks like this. It's spherical. And the function of a lymphocyte is antibody production. So if the drawing is a lymphocyte, this would be the answer. Next question, the body has different types of defenses against pathogens. The list shows some of these defenses. Which defense help to prevent pathogens reaching the alveoli when breathing in? When breathing in to prevent pathogens, it would be the hairs in the nose and also your mucus. So the answer is 2 and 3, which is C. Next question, which features are present in gas exchange surfaces? So for the rate of diffusion to be high, we need a large surface area. We also do need a good blood supply, but we would want a thin wall instead, so that the distance moved is shorter, and hence the rate of diffusion will be faster. So the answer would be A,